Good morning. Welcome to this morning's Obon Service. Anybody who's here for the first time? We're going to begin the Obon Service with some selections by the Betsuin Choir. Thank you, Betsuin Choir, for those very two nice numbers. We will continue with sutra chanting Sambujo, which is on page 24 in the small service book, followed by Butsu Ge, page 22 in the small service book, and Sambujo is page 24 in the large service book. So, and followed by Butsu Ge, page 22 in the small service book, page 79 in the big service book.
종아군아이온
We will now have a Daihyoshoko by the following organizations: Cub Scout Pack 611, Boy Scout Troop 611, Betsuin Crew 611, Daisy Troop, Brownie Troop, Junior Troop, Cadet Troop, Senior Ambassador Troop, Japanese Language School, Lotus Preschool, San Jose Junior YBA, Morgan Hill Dharma School, DSPO, San Jose Dharma School, Buddhist Women's Association, Adult Buddhist Association, Morgan Hill Hawakai, San Jose Betsuin, please arise for the singing of Gatha Obon no Uta, which is in your program, or on page 71 if you don't have the program. Followed by the Tree Treasures, which is also in the program, and then the Dharma message by Rinban Sakamoto.
Please join now in the reading of the Three Treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning and welcome to this morning's Obon Service. It's good to see so many of you here this morning. This is an annual service, of course, and it's a service in which we gather together to remember the lives of family and friends who have passed away, but also to come together as a community, to come together as friends to share this life together. In Japan, or even I guess in Hawaii too, but Obon time is a time where you return to your family home. So often the large cities are kind of vacant. There are not very many people there because they've gone back to their hometowns. And people do hakamairi, so go back to the home temple and then go to the graveyard cemetery and to put flowers and food at the cemeteries. Yesterday morning we had our annual Scout Cemetery cleanup at the Oak Hill Cemetery. And if you get a chance, go out. It's very beautiful now. I don't know if the flowers were able to withstand the heat, but all fresh flowers were put out. The cemetery headstones were cleaned, and everything was made very nice. And every year, the Scout organization goes out to Oak Hill to do that. yesterday they had water and soda, and she was asking me afterwards, should you get hot dogs for them? I said, oh, maybe, no, well, better not have hot dogs. So she was saying, no, water, is water, soda? I said, yeah, that's fine. But some of the parents were saying, don't drink soda, drink water, and it's good. So I said, maybe water and a hot dog. But next year she's thinking of kind of upping the refreshments for the Scout organization. There was a time when they would bring the ice and the soda out to the area where the Scouts were cleaning up the cemetery, and they would use large vaults to put the ice and soda in. And so that was kind of nice. You reach into these. Bob knows what these vaults are. These are the vaults that we place in the ground with caskets, and had served a dual purpose. I think that was the last time that the vaults were being used. But it was really nice to have so many Scouts out there yesterday, cleaning, working so hard to make that area of the cemetery so beautiful. I love this song, Obon no Uta. It's hard to reach that first note because you start out, I don't know, way up there, and you got to kind of get a jump start on it and kind of leap into it. There is on page 272 in a large service book, is the song is there, with a translation of the song beneath it. And that translation reads, riding on the dragonfly, guests are coming from far away Pure Land. It's the yearly visit of our guests. And the second verse, dragonfly, dragonfly, red dragonfly, lighting the bonfires and paper lanterns. We'll all go out to meet our guests. I don't know, I kind of like, well, I like the translation, but I think the Japanese has a little bit more, I don't know, feeling to it or character to it. But it's open fields and dragonflies and fireflies, and how we are able to gather together as family and friends. And where I grew up, there were dragonflies weren't there except in the some of the ponds. So near our home, there were no ponds. So growing up, dragonflies wasn't something we saw all the time. Or fireflies. Fireflies, I don't know, have you seen fireflies? Not here, but you out east, Midwest, yeah. So, it's firefly, yes. So, it's kind of the idea or the feeling of summer. It reminds me of summertime, when the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. That feeling of summertime, a relaxed time, thinking about those things that really allow us to kind of take a breath, to feel settled, to feel apart. Of course, last weekend was Obon, and it certainly didn't make us feel settled. But now we can feel settled as we think about all of the relatives and friends that make our lives possible. I think of people who have been influences in my life and who I've had the good fortune of sharing time with. My judo sensei, who passed away a couple years ago, and all of the things that he taught me and he allowed me to participate in. We used to do boat racing out at I guess it's Kewalo Basin, and these are hydroplanes that we were just kind of starting out. Hydroplanes, so short boats, about 8-9 feet long, fabric on the front. The hull was wood, but then much of it was made with fiberglass of fabric. And they ran with little engines, and we would race these boats. Kihei Lagoon, near Sand Island. We would race these boats. And once we went to Kauai to race boats, and the Nauwiliwila Harbor was where we raced. And the harbor has an opening, and it comes this way, and the racers would have to go in that circuit. But what was exciting was because there was just this opening, this narrow opening to the harbor, as the tide came in and the breeze came in, it would come through that gap. So as the boats raced around, if they were not careful, they would hit that swell, and the wind would catch their boat. And so they would have to kind of slow down. And one of our racers was racing and all out, and he was going down that back stretch when it hit a swell. The wind caught the underside of his boat, and he tipped over. And it was exciting. He survived, so it was fun watching him go up and then go over. So they had to go out, stop the race, and tow his boat back in again. But that was my judo sensei, and he had a lot of experiences like that that I think about, I remember. There are other things here, that Tsumura Sensei used to come to the office after he retired, and he used to come to the office and stop by every day. And he'd knock on my window, and he'd come in, and we'd go out back and pull out a couple chairs, and we'd go out back behind the building. Eventually, George Hanada built a small bench, and you go back there, there's a small bench back there, and he built that bench because Tsumura Sensei would go back there and smoke, and I would have to go accompany him, and we'd sit back there, share stories, and he's smoking back there. And he said, well, at my age, it doesn't make a difference. So I said, okay, Sensei, you okay. So, yeah, and when we think about these individuals that have been a part of our lives, we're reminded of how much, who we are is shaped by these relationships, and that those relationships continue to be a part of our lives. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't simply go away when their lives come to an end. I always share the story of my mother or my sister, my father, and when my father died. But there are many other individuals who have had an influence in my life. Reverend Fujitani, who was the first bishop that I served under while in Hawaii, and who was a minister for our family while I was growing up. All of these individuals, we can think back over, we look at the back wall, and we see all the ministers that are there who have, Inoue Sensei, Ohata Sensei, all ministers who have passed away, Hojo Sensei, Nishimura Sensei, Tsumura Sensei. These are all ministers who served here, whose influence is deeply rooted in this temple. And we are grateful for having had the opportunity to share life with them. And we are mindful of these influences at this time. But it's not just at Obon, right? It's not just at Obon that we should be mindful, that we should think about these lives. That throughout the year, there's so many opportunities for us to recognize the influences that their lives have had in our lives. And we simply need to respond and say, Namo Amida Butsu, in gratitude and appreciation. There's nothing more that we need do. Simply as an expression of gratitude for all of the relationships that have made our lives possible. And in reflecting on that, to realize that our lives are the result of many lives. Our lives are the result of life itself. And in Jodo Shinshu, that light is infinite light, infinite wisdom, and life is infinite compassion. When you look at the statue of Amida Buddha, the raised hand symbolizes wisdom. The lower hand symbolizes compassion. These are the two central components of enlightenment. Wisdom that allows us to see things as they are. Compassion, how we engage the world. These are the kind of the guides that we use as we live our lives. Wisdom, again, allowing to see how our lives are the result of many lives. Our lives are not so much made possible, but give meaning and importance and significance to who we are, that have helped us throughout the years become who we are. And we respond and we say, Namo Amida Butsu, in gratitude and appreciation. Today at this Obon service, we gather together, as many families do, to participate in Obon services, to perhaps go to Hakamairi, to go to the cemetery, to visit the cemetery. A few years ago, I think it was after the junior choir trip, we remained in Japan, and Hiroshima is where my family came from. And so we remained in Hiroshima and went to go visit family members. And my father's brother was still alive at that time. And so we went to his home, and my cousin, who I barely know, my cousin came to visit, came to pick us up, and then took us into Hiroshima. And as we were driving up to the home, we were passing cemeteries. And in the cemeteries, there were these, next to the gravestone, there were many of these posts or poles that had almost like a pom-pom, like a loose pom-pom on the top of these poles. And they were standing next to many of the gravestones. And so I had not seen that before, and so I asked my cousin, what are those things that are standing up next to the gravestone? He said, oh yeah, and along some of the shops had these, the shops that we were passing had these that were next to the cemeteries. And he said, yeah, people will go to the shops, purchase these sticks, and they would plant them next to the headstone, so that other people can see. He said, I've been here. I did Hakamairi, but you should go and do Hakamairi, which are much more feeling than sticking a pole and putting down, I've been here. We recognize the importance of these lives that have been lived before us, that have contributed to our lives. And we're grateful for all that we are able to do, all that we have received. And again, in gratitude, we simply respond and say Namo Amida Butsu. Today's Obon service, I hope you get a chance to be with family and friends, to share, to recognize the importance of the relationships that we share with one another. As we conclude, will you please join in Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
I'm planting my pole right now. Boom. I was here. Thank you, Rinban Sakamoto, for that very nice Obon service talk. I want to thank everybody. I think everybody probably helped at Obon here. Thank everybody for your efforts last weekend at Obon. You may have heard that we had record number of dancers on Saturday, record number of dancers on Sunday, record gross sales, probably a record number of happy people, just happy to come out and dance and be with their friends and see relatives and friends and have a good time, and feeling that maybe satisfaction over having helped the temple. We appreciate everything that you've done, not just at Obon, but throughout the year, because without everybody here, Obon wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be the great success that it was this past weekend. So I want to thank you for that. Please rise now for Gatha Ondokusan II, which is also in the program.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Thank you. Please be seated.
That will conclude our Obon service. Are there any announcements? No announcements. Okay. So again, thank you for coming out to the Obon service. Please come up and Oshoko and stay cool.
Thank you, Dennis.
And there are some refreshments in the garden if you want to go into the garden.